It's Morbid time.
It's Morbid time. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, why, might you ask, are we talking about a film on this show that's been out for almost 2 months that nobody actually wants us to talk about? Nobody in their right mind actually is sitting here, Andy, going, I wonder what the Culture Cast thinks about Morbius. Or maybe they are. I mean, to be fair, I have been told you don't cover enough new movies on your show.
Mm-hmm.
However, when we do cover new movies, the people that are invited to cover the new movies with us don't show up. So we're here, you and I, left holding the vampire blood bag.
I show up every time.
He's here every time, ladies and gentlemen. Who, might you ask, is that lovely dulcet voice on the other end of the podcast? The Podosphere? That's my good friend and yours, the one and only recording artist from the heartland of Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Andy Gnosis.
Hello.
Andy, why are you here today? Why are we subjecting ourselves to the meaniest film of 2022?
Morbius.
You need a doctor?
I am a doctor.
I should have died years ago.
People all over the world have my disease.
I'm here
To find a cure,
we have to push the boundaries, take the risks.
if you're gonna run,
Do it now.
People are strange
Dr. Michael Morbius, you've been missing for 2 months.
when you're a stranger.
Then you were found on a container ship that washed up off of Long Island.
Faces look ugly when you're alone.
What did you do to yourself, Doctor?
I wish I knew. I went from dying to being more alive than ever.
It worked.
Not exactly. I have increased strength and speed and some form of bat radar. What else can I do?
There are limits. There has to be.
There's something inside of me that wants to hunt and consume blood.
Michael.
When you're a stranger, faces come
Can you control it?
I don't know.
Half the city wants to kill you.
remembers your name.
We haven't had anything this good since that thing in San Francisco.
When you're strange,
The other half wants to control you.
Hey, Dr. Mike, you and I should stay in touch.
I'd do anything to save a life, but I don't know what I'm capable of.
You save lives, you don't take them.
Are you here to heal the world? Or to destroy it? Who the hell are you, man?
I am Venom. I'm just kidding. It's Dr. Michael Morbius at your service.
It's so meme worthy. I mean,
More BS is more like no.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you a fan of more BS? Because I'm no BS. No BS. Yeah. You've seen my
Lord.
brother more BS. Now see me. No BS. Jesus Christ. So yeah, if you're here listening to us on this episode of the Culture Cast, we are going to be talking about 2022's greatest film, Morbius. God. Film is directed by Daniel Espinosa. Daniel Espinosa has directed some other things like Life and Child 44 and Easy Money and Safe House. Those are all movies that you could go and watch, but you're listening to us talk about Morbius instead. The film stars Jared Leto, Matt Smith, and really that's it. I mean, Tyrese Gibson is in this movie, I think.
Yeah, he's in it. He's in there somewhere.
Michael Keaton's in it too, but boy, we'll get to that when we get to it. We will be talking spoilers. I don't think anyone gives a shit. Like, I'm just being straight here. I mean, I'm not straight. I'm not. But I'm going to be straight with y'all for a moment here. Nobody cares.
Right.
Like nobody went and saw this movie. Nobody cares now.
Don't ruin it for me.
Oh, right. Don't ruin Morbius. And yeah, like Andy said at the opening of the show, it's Morbin time. This film has become a fucking meme, ladies and gentlemen, to the point where there are Twitch streamers who are streaming the film, Twitter accounts that are doing the film picture by picture and plot beat by plot beat, and they turn the entire movie into a GIF. The entire film is a GIF. So to give you an idea of what this movie is, that will not, but dear God in heaven, it's about Jared Leto as a doctor who he uses human and vampire bat recombinant DNA on himself to fix his blood problem, and in doing so becomes a vampire. Yeah. Okay. And so there you go. So
because science.
Because movies and science.
Science, yes.
Andy.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, I know why, but God damn, this movie, right? Tell me what you thought sitting down to watch it, please. The world wants to know. The world needs to know.
Oh man, I'm laughing because I hear you. I liked this movie.
It was a lot of fun in like a really bad way.
Right. Like when it was over, I first of all, I went in completely unbiased. I was like,
that's impossible. It has Jared Leto in it.
Well,
it is impossible to be unbiased in a Jared Leto film. Even with me, like, I do not like Jared Leto. I know most people don't like him, yourself included. He was the main reason I did not go see this movie.
Okay.
So we can't be unbiased with Jared Leto.
Well, we can't be, but I was.
Sure.
I wasn't watching it for Jared Leto. I was watching it for you.
It all comes back to me.
To you fuck. But no, by the time it was over, I said, okay, I like this movie only because it reminds me, but I don't know if this is a good thing for the movie. It reminds me of the movies I grew up with, like Blade and Spawn and those really like late 90s, early 2000s sci-fi horror action movies. And that's what this movie gave me. So I liked it, but it feels really outdated. And that's really all I have to say after viewing it. So, but yeah, it's not without its issues. It has many. I don't even know what was.
It's not to say it is not without its issues. Is like saying Swiss cheese has some holes in it.
And this movie has a lot of holes.
Oh my, doesn't it? Just right at the top, you mentioned this. So Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless are the two writers of the film. Do you know what other things they have worked on together? Because they are a writing team.
Mm-mm.
Dracula Untold, The Last Witch Hunter, Gods of Egypt, and Power Rangers. If that should give you an idea of the kinds of projects they've worked on before, and then you go and watch this movie, they're all out of the same book. The only problem is that Power Rangers movie was way better than it had any fucking right to be.
The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
Yeah, well, no, not the original one, the more recent one.
Oh,
with Billy from Stranger Things.
Okay, yeah.
It was actually pretty good for what it was. It had more charm to it than I was expecting.
Could have been better.
And then we come to this movie.
Morbius, the vampire bat movie.
Oh, dear God. This movie is everything wrong with superhero movies from 2005 to 2015. It is every bad idea from all of those movies and movies like Gods of Egypt. These giant CGI slow-mo bland characters, one-dimensional character-driven bullshit superhero CGI nonsense fuckfest. This is it is the worst of these movies, but at the same time, it's so dumb. And like, I couldn't help but be like, okay, I can't believe this is a Marvel movie. I could not believe the Marvel opening came before this movie. I cannot believe that at the end of this movie, they tried to shoehorn it into the MCU. Like, oh my God. And that's the thing about this movie. That is the insane part, is that it is part of the MCU.
It's so out of place. It is like
the redheaded stepchild. You've heard that term before. This is like the vampire.
If you told me this is in the same universe as Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, I'd believe you. I'd say,
I'm not
okay,
even sure I would believe you then.
I would believe only because it feels like it was of that time.
It feels like Venom, but worse because Venom is somehow kind of charming.
I still haven't seen Venom.
Venom is actually a lot of fun. Like Venom,
and there's a Venom joke,
right? So this takes place in the Venom universe. I mean, that's the thing. Like, this is in the Venom world.
Yeah, Venom. I'm Venom.
Right.
Where was the joke? He just said, "I'm Venom." I was like, why would he say that? He's not Venom. And I was like, am I dumb or is the script dumb? Like, I don't get why he said it. And then I was like, maybe it's supposed to be funny that he would just jokingly say, "I'm Venom,"
But Venom is in San Francisco, not in New York. Because Venom takes place in San Francisco. Yeah.
Oh, is he gay? Is Venom gay?
So in Venom 2, there is a kind of not weird, but there's kind of this novel subplot that it would seem that the romantic part of the movie is Venom and Eddie Brock as like, that's the love story. So kind of, I don't know what Venom's gender is.
Probably doesn't have one.
Right.
It's just Venom.
So if Venom is presenting itself as masculine and Eddie Brock is a cisgendered man, then yeah, it's kind of a gay movie. So we kind of arrived there.
Okay, so I want to know what was the issue? What did these two guys have? Okay, so it's Michael Morbius and his friend Milo. Is his name Michael?
I'm Dr. Michael Morbius.
Yeah. And
alliteration
Milo,
be damned, baby.
So, and then the girl's name,
but his brother's technically is named Lucian, who he just calls him Milo, because Jared Leto is a fucking dick even as a child in this movie. But he's apparently master scientist who knew how to fix a. What the fuck did he?
He used a spring.
He's a genius, a fucking genius.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the goth Iron Man, where he
literally
can just take anything and fucking make it work. But in this case, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna dismiss it as it's science. I don't fucking know how that would even. The machine breaks and the kid's like, blah. And he's like, here's a spring from a ballpoint pen. The kid comes back.
And then Jared Harris is like, you are a genius.
Yeah, he's like, how did you do that? It's like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah. I don't know what rare blood disease they have.
Okay. They didn't point it out. Right?
Blood disease.
Okay.
I mean, that's the problem with a lot of these kinds of things is like, it's trying to ground itself in reality, which is, I think, a problem with this character to begin with. Like, it's he's a living vampire. That's the thing. Like we were joking before, like, oh, Batman, but like he's called Morbius, the living vampire, because in the comics, similarly to in the movies, he injects himself with vampire bat DNA. And in comic books, as we know, when you do that, you don't do like Jeff Goldblum in The Fly and start to fall apart, mutate. You just become the thing. So unlike Spider-Man, who doesn't look offensive because he's just a guy with spider powers, he didn't grow 6 arms until he did in the comic. Morbius looks like a fucking bat.
Yeah.
And then when they were like, one of the things we want to translate from the comic is the look of Morbius, where he looks like a bat from Dusk Till Dawn. Jared Leto, how do you feel about just constant CGI the entire movie on your face, where it looks like a total waste of time?
Enough of this method acting bullshit that everyone is so fucking up his ass about. Like, We get it. You are so committed to the craft that
I wandered behind the scenes with my arm crutches moving. Like, fuck you, dude.
They had to wheelchair this fucker around the set because he was so committed that he was going to take his sweet ass time as Michael Morbius on and off camera.
In a Sony Marvel movie.
And I'm like, Jesus, when they showed him at the beginning of the film, when he's conducting, research, whatever.
What was he doing at the beginning of the movie? I'm still confused.
I don't know what that was. The blood and the bats, and
he was capturing them in like a trap or a net.
Oh, okay, and that's where he took them back to.
Right,
okay.
right. And then he takes like 1,000 bats back to his lab in New York City.
And the poor things can't sleep because he won't turn the fucking light off. So that's why they're
where do they sleep?
Well, they were sleeping up top because they're vampire bats, so they sleep upside down. And the doctor turns on the light inside, and that's when they start flying around. And they leave them that way. And it was bugging me. I was like, these poor bats just want to go to sleep, and they're just in there freaking out because there's just light shining through it. But no, he was like really, really thin and frail. And I was wondering if he had transformed, like actually done that, or if it was CG. Did he actually do that for the movie? So long become like he basically did a Joaquin Phoenix in Joker, where he lost a lot of weight.
I don't know. I was wondering the same thing because at the beginning of the movie, he looks like he's like 10 pounds.
Yeah, and then he becomes the vampire guy, and then he's back to being Jared Leto.
It's literally just like Captain America.
Yeah, he goes back to being Jared Leto with his muscles, and how old is he? He's 50, right?
Who?
Jared Leto.
Is he 50?
I think he's 50. My God.
Oh no. What?
If I don't look like that when I'm 50.
I don't look like that now. I don't look like that now any more than you do.
I'm going to feel robbed. I'm going to feel there is a God and he is vengeful.
Do you think maybe that Jared Leto actually
is a vampire?
Actually is a vampire. I mean,
the movie is pretty close up on his face. I was like, not a wrinkle, not a pore, not.
He looks good for 50.
He's beautiful. He's a beautiful man. I'll give him that. That's all I'll give him. Like, my girlfriend has the biggest crush on him, and
has she seen him act?
Well, because he's actually really good in Dallas Buyers Club. When I saw that, I actually really liked it.
That is the only role anyone can go back to for Jared Leto. He's not a good actor.
Dallas Buyers Club.
But that's it. That's literally it.
I hated his Joker. I hated Harley Quinn.
I'm from Hot Topic. Okay. Cool. Twisted or broken or whatever the fuck it. Oh God. That version of the Joker is.
So he said, I'm going to be Morbius then, because that didn't work.
Right. We saw your take on the Joker, Jared, and we had to get into the Jared Leto business. Yeah. Sony just making poor decision after poor decision, right?
Yeah, and then he was in House of Gucci as what was he?
A fat man?
Yeah. I thought it was Dr. Phil. I'm not kidding. I'm not even trying to be funny. I thought that was Dr. Phil when they showed. I was like, why is Dr. Phil?
Need to start living your life as a gay woman.
You lying sack of potatoes. That was his accent the whole movie. The whole.
Do you think?
Yes.
Just spitballing here.
Yes, I do.
That Sony has lost its fucking mind completely with these Sony's Spider-Verse movies.
You just think they're up there been like going crazy?
Who asked for this fucking movie?
If it was like a setup to something really cool, is it? I mean, Michael Keaton.
Oh, sure. Dude, I have no earthly fucking idea, to be perfectly honest. Like, here's the thing. Okay, so we have Spider-Man, right? Mm-hmm. Tom Holland, Spider-Man, base Earth Spider-Man. Then we have Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, who are now introduced to the MCU canonically. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So now we have Venom, who has been introduced into the MCU canonically as well. So now we have Morbius, who has been pegged into the Marvel Cinematic Universe because For whatever reason, Vulture went the other way into their universe, which makes no sense because I was under the impression, because again, this movie takes place during Spider-Man No Way Home or in the same time frame because it shows the tear at the end of the movie, which felt like it was tacked on, completely tacked on. You have the tear open. You have Michael Keaton show up in the Venom Spider-Man universe. And then he's like, I hope the chow is better here. And it's like, what the hell is going on here? How did he travel to this universe when the entire thing in Spider-Man No Way Home was they're going from their universe to Spider-Man Tom Holland's universe, not just transporting away.
Right. I have no idea, but I agree with the tacked on thing. It looked...
It sound like in that second scene, I'm pretty sure that was not Michael Keaton's voice.
And Jared Leto's part looked like it was just edited in.
Right.
Like as if
they were not in the scene together.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. It was like, just read this line, stare into the camera.
You have my attention.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I could have done that. Also,
how did Vulture get his suit?
Oh, isn't he in prison?
No. A different question. Oh. How did Vulture get his suit from Tom Holland's universe?
Right.
Morbius's universe.
I don't know, because Tom
fucking
Holland.
Dumb. Like they, you know what? They showed the shit in the trailer for Michael Keaton to get people excited and to get people to come see the movie who weren't going to see it otherwise.
Right. Well,
because it does not serve a purpose.
Is Blade going to be introduced into this universe?
Blade is part of the MCU proper, not part of the Sony Spider-Man universe. So that's the thing. Like, you have the MCU and you have the DCEU, and then you have whatever the fuck this is supposed to be. It's like its own sideways thing that's not MCU, but yet MCU characters are cavorting in their universe, and now they're in the MCU universe. Because like this Morbius world, which is Venom's universe, is where Venom comes from in the MCU, right?
I think so.
A hearty fuck you to all of this. This is like, this is Sony doing what Sony does best and just dropping their pants and taking a shit all over everything. I have no respect for Sony as a company because Sony does not understand how to manage the properties that they have. They did okay with Spider-Man 1 and 2 in spite of themselves. And then they almost lost the MCU Tom Holland Spider-Man movies altogether because they couldn't play fucking nice with Marvel. Like, Sony, get out of here. This is the kind of shit Sony makes on their own.
Yeah.
Like, this is just...
We'll do Morbius and it'll be so much better.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this is like high art. This movie has so much gay undertones on top of everything else.
Yeah.
Right?
The dancing, the
Matt Smith, the doctor.
Yeah. Okay. Can I say, and I don't think you have to be a genius to know this, completely predictable, the whole movie.
Literally from start to finish.
But the second they were bullying him as a kid, like where they were like whacking him around, I was like, he's the villain of the movie. Right then and there, I knew. I was like, he's the villain.
Well, he's also the villain because he's like the other biggest name actor in the movie.
Right. But
that's how lazy all these MCU movies were for the longest time. It's like Jeff Bridges is the bad guy because he's the only other really big name actor in the movie. Right.
And so I don't know. I was like, this has origin story written all over it.
Oh my God. Like I was saying, like they don't make origin story movies anymore like this for good reason. For good reason, because this kind of movie feels trite and tired. Like you said, it's predictable from start to finish.
Yeah.
Like
I knew where it was going to end.
Yeah.
Even when the love interest, whose name I forgot, but I know it starts with an M because everyone's name starts with an M in this movie.
Martine Bancroft.
So Michael Morbius, Milo, Martine. My God.
Simon Stroud, Tyrese Gibson.
Right.
Who's from the comic book, by the way.
Oh, by the way, Tyrese Gibson being in this even more so made me feel like I'm watching a movie from 2003 or 4.
Yeah. Tyrese, acting powerhouse. Such a good actor for this role that they cut most of his stuff out of the movie. There was a completely different climax to the film.
Who's the goofy, the other detective?
Oh, Al Madrigal. Yeah.
Is that okay?
He's like a comedian. He was on The Daily Show, I think.
Okay, that makes sense because I was thinking he was actually really funny.
Yeah, he was funny. Tyrese just like block of wood.
He's just there
to just like look off screen menacing. Hey, I'm glad they wasted Jared Harris's time. I love Jared Harris. Jared Harris is a Moriarty from the Sherlock Holmes movies.
He's their doctor, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's their father.
He's the father.
He's also Richard Harris's son, Dumbledore from the first 2 Harry Potter films.
Oh, see, I learn something new every day.
Yeah. Oh, he's great. I love Jared Harris.
Least with you. But no, I was thinking, they're on the ship, right? And the guy with the gun pushes, what'd you say her name was? Martine? Okay. Pushes her. She bumps her head and she's in a coma. That was the most far-fetched thing to me in the whole movie. And this is a CGI movie. I was
where Vampire Man is slow dodging bullets like in the Matrix.
Yeah, he didn't die of any like rabies or anything. He just became a vampire.
Man, when he looks over his shoulder in that CGI shot on the boat, I just oh my fucking God. I was like, I'm finally seeing that shot that we all saw for like 2 years. Yeah. We're finally seeing it in the movie. And like,
it wasn't anything.
It was not any better than the first time I saw it.
But no, when he visits her in the hospital, I was like, who's he visiting? And it shows her. I had to ask, who is that? And then I was like, oh, why is she in a coma? The guy barely touched her.
Why not?
Weak sauce, man. I was like, just because. I do think it was funny every time he would drink by the way, the synthetic blood.
Fake blood.
Because
because the living vampire can't eat people.
Right, because he's a hero or something.
Right. A hero ? I mean, he does kill people.
Yeah,
like he still brutalizes like 6 people.
He did on the ship, and then but then he's gonna act high and mighty when his friend's like, I want what you got, and he's like, no, because you'll hurt people.
It's time for you to die, asshole. Like, what the fuck?
It's like
it's a shame. It's the thing that's the biggest shame about this movie is that Matt Smith is the best part. He is clearly having fun. Yeah. Matt Smith is dancing around, being a complete goof. It reminded me of when David Tennant played the character on Jessica Jones, Kilgrave. It was that same thing where it's like, look at these actors who are better than the leads in this case, not so much in Jessica Jones' case, but definitely in this case, having a good time. And then you got Jared Leto, just Mr. Self-serious. Like you can see every time he delivers a line, he thinks it's like the greatest line delivery he's ever given.
Yeah, I'm entering the MCU, and this is groundbreaking performance art that requires... It's a
performance.
Yeah, it's like, fuck off. Like, it would be fun to just watch him have fun. That would be great.
Right. It would.
Just let go and just accept it for what it is. This is a silly vampire action movie and just have fun with it. But no, I have to Jared Leto the whole thing.
He's such a miserable asshole. Like, right? Like, again, like, I don't know the guy. I don't. I'm not going to sit here and say, like, this is who he is as a human being. But as an actor, he's a fucking miserable actor. Like, I don't like the things that I've seen him in. The only thing I like him in, American Psycho.
Oh, right.
Where he gets fucking murdered. Like, he's in 2 scenes and he gets murdered.
Right. I always forget he's in that.
Try getting a reservation at Dorsia now, motherfucker. Like that's my Jared Leto role. And he's a minor part of that movie, and he plays that role perfectly, and he gets fucking murdered, supposedly, theoretically, in theory.
Right. I haven't seen all his films. At least I don't think I have. What was that one that it was like a murder mystery type of film? Little Things, I think is what it's called. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yep. The one with Rami Malek. That's like the only one. That's the only thing I want to see because it's like a serial killer movie.
Right. And I didn't even know that it was him. I think he's wearing like a nose prosthetic or something, but I know those eyes. So I was like, my God, that guy looks just like fucking Jared Leto. And then it turned out it was Jared Leto. But still haven't seen that one. I think it's really funny every time he would drink the synthetic blood. It was in the most dramatic way. And I don't know if that was the character choice or it was just.
It's like, dude, chill.
It's like, it was like, just tear the top off and he would go.
What cracks me the fuck up about this
use a straw.
What it cracks me up about this entire fucking movie is just like this movie could have been fun if it were taking itself 1,000% less seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a self-serious ass movie too. Like because you have Jared Leto, it's like you can't have fun.
Yeah,
he's an actor with a capital A. Like that's the failure of this movie. That is this film's critical failure is casting Jared Leto. It really is. Like I don't know how else to put it. Like
it's not fair to the other actors either. Imagine being cast in something and you're like, oh, that sounds fun. Who's the lead? Jared Leto.
Right. He's a character actor. Jared Leto is a character actor. He is not the lead of a movie. Dallas Buyers Club, he's good in. He's not the lead. Matthew McConaughey is.
Yeah.
The Joker, not good. I don't know where else to go with that one.
But also not the lead.
Yeah.
But wanted to be. You could tell that Joker was supposed to be. It was so.
Yeah. They cut the shit out of that movie anyways.
Yeah. I
release the Ayer cut, you fucking cowards. Do it.
I mean, he was in the Snyder cut of Justice League, you know.
Does Batman fuck you in the ass or whatever the hell he said? Like
something.
Something just like, dude, chill out. Like you're running at 100% all the time, pal. Like
all the time.
He must it must be exhausting to be him.
Right.
Because he just he seems like so self-serious, like all the time. Like, dude, crack a fucking smile.
Right. And it's I don't know him. Like just like you said, I don't know him. Maybe he's actually a mushroom. Get it? A fun guy. Anyways,
he's not. He has his own according to Josh Bragg of The Haunting Season, he has his own cult, and apparently he may or may not send text messages to underage girls? ?
Huh? You know,
would that surprise you? As a lead singer of a fucking scene band from the early 2000s, which is where he technically got his start with 30 Seconds to Mars, that kind of behavior was fucking prevalent.
Still is.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but when I think of that time and place, right? Like, I think of.
It made sense to me too that him and Lady Gaga got along so well in House of Gucci because she's still early on in her acting career, so she wants to take it seriously. So that makes sense for her to take it seriously, when she gets a role. So I can imagine them both kind of just, and I love Lady Gaga, don't get me wrong, but I can imagine them both just like up each other's asses like the whole time.
Oh my God.
Like,
that House of Gucci.
You're an artist. No, you're an artist. No, you're an artist.
Oh, that House of Gucci set must have just been insufferable.
Sniffing each other's farts the whole time.
Lady Gaga and Jared Leto come out of a closet together and they just reek of each other's buttholes.
Yeah.
Just like stinks. Nice and good. Like, ugh.
Yeah, we don't fart. We create art from our butt.
Yeah. The stink of my asshole. It creates magic. Like it's.
But you see, the difference is Lady Gaga knows how to have fun. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I think Lady Gaga is more fun at her core, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be to create music. That she does is so multi-talented, has huge hits.
Also different generation. Lady Gaga is like 4 years older than me. So Lady Gaga is like our age too. Again, look, Jared Leto and his ilk are on the way out. This method actors now don't think method acting is cool. A lot of actors now are like, method acting is just an excuse for you to act like an asshole.
It's overrated.
It's just an excuse to act like a prick.
Yeah, it's like, I think it was what is her name? Juliette Lewis, whom I love. Is that her name? I always get it wrong. What is her name?
I don't.
Juliette
Lewis. That's an actor. That is a. If you're asking me if that's a real person, yes, it is.
Natural Born Killers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Never
Juliette
seen
Lewis.
it, but I know who you're talking about.
I loved it behind the scenes of From Dusk Till Dawn. She says herself she does not understand the point of method acting. She said, I'm not going to go and put myself like mentally in this world that's going to move me to, she's like, no, we're pretending. This is what we're doing. You say action, I pretend that something's happening, but I'm not going to go out of my way to emotionally damage myself to make the role more concrete or something. It's like at the end of the day, you're pretending, you're playing, you know?
Have you seen Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond? The Netflix thing about Jim Carrey playing Andy Kaufman in Man on the Moon? That is like the biggest indictment, but yet also the biggest circle jerkery of this shit. Because like Jim Carrey was being an asshole,
right,
on set. Right. But and yet when you see it, you go, but the people who knew Andy Kaufman are saying that this is Andy Kaufman. So maybe their techniques that yield results like this can have a place in the industry. I just think for the most part, acting like a fucking asshole does nobody any favors, especially yourself.
Right. It's kind of like the whole thing. Like I said, I adore her, but I didn't think it was headline worthy to be like Gaga's method acting at its finest because she didn't drop the Italian accent for months. And I thought, who cares?
The people in her life must have been exhausted with her.
Who cares? Like, I get it. It's hard to keep an accent that you're not used to. You don't have it. You know what I mean? So I would understand if it was like she trained for months to perfect it.
Which she did.
Right. But it was, she never stopped. And it's like,
you're going to be one of those kind of actors, eh?
Right. And it's like, that one makes a little more sense, like I said, because it's easy to drop an accent. And so you really want to maintain it. So I get it. I get that. But I'm surprised that Jared Leto didn't become Dr. Phil for this film, for House of Gucci, that he didn't put on all the weight and shaved his head and aged.
Not committed to the fucking craft, pal.
He said, you know what? I can't keep doing this to my body, you know?
Right. Like, remember when Christian Bale was Dick Cheney?
Was that prosthetics?
Like, probably a little bit of both. I don't know.
I hope so, because my God. And then he did it again in the new Thor trailer. He looks pretty frail in that.
Oh, but he looks great.
Right. But it's just, I worry that it's at what point is method acting just dangerous and not worth it?
Well, that's what I'm getting at. It's like, for me, I think a lot of actors have been very critical of it recently. You will see actors coming out, like you said, with Juliette Lewis in the 90s, but you have plenty of like contemporary actors coming out now and being like, that's not for me, dog. Like, it's not for me. And like, I understand why it's not. And I'm not defending it because I kind of abhor it as well. But there are people that are good at it. Daniel Day-Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the method actor of method actors. Klaus Kinski. You have people that are fantastic method actors that yield amazing results. Jared Leto is not one of them.
Yeah,
most actors that do it aren't one of them because, again, it's like anything else. It's really only successful for a select few actors, and that's their bread and butter. And then you have a bunch of other people who try it with varying degrees of success. In Jared Leto's case, method acting in a fucking Marvel superhero movie feels pretty unnecessary.
Right. It's like, you know how much, I guarantee you nobody would have known the fucking difference if...
Oh, I couldn't. If you had told me he was method acting, I would have said, okay. Right.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. Like, I'm walking around like a normal guy, but in the movie, you're somewhat of a cripple. Action, pretend to be crippled. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're that good of an actor, it's no problem. You
should be able to turn it on and off.
Right.
So shouldn't have to leave it at like 1 or 2 with the fucking white noise in the background constantly annoying the rest of us.
Right. That makes me wonder if method acting, like you said, 1 is an excuse to just be an asshole. And 2, does it mean that you're probably not that good if you have to every single time resort to method acting? You know what I mean?
Right. I agree with you.
You just don't know how to pretend. So you have to submerge yourself into
even though that's your job.
Yeah, pretend. You saying you can't do it? Yeah, I do, but give me a year to lose all the weight, and I'm gonna be Joker for 2 fucking years. You know, it's like the guy that's playing Elvis.
Oh, Austin Butler.
Austin Butler. It was really interesting seeing his interviews as of recent. You know, promoting the film and saying that he basically became Elvis for 2 years because the process was so long, prolonged, especially with the pandemic, that he wasn't able to escape that world of being Elvis because he had to maintain it. And it makes me wonder how much of that is just a load of bullshit and how much of it is sincere. Like, I genuinely could not escape being Elvis, because if I was getting a role, you know, as a performer, I can relate to a little, to an extent, you know what I mean? On stage, I'm not this guy right here. You know what I mean? And it's a turn it on, turn it off. The music makes it come out in me. And once I get off stage, I'm back to just being this guy, just a guy who is pretty personable, giggly all the time, and more often than not, silly. On stage, it's this persona of it's almost pretentious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it, but that's what you're going for.
But it's on purpose. You know what I mean? So I'm fully aware.
Intentional.
Yeah. So it makes me wonder if I was to ever get a role where they said, you're playing this character, I would just read about the character and then figure it out. I don't think I would try to become that person and then brag about it to all my friends of just so that they can brag to media outlets. Oh yeah, you should have seen him. He was that character for months, and we forgot who he even was at one point. He truly believed. Get the fuck out of here with all of that nonsense. Read the script and just do the part. You know what I'm saying? So,
but again, I'm not defending it, but some actors can do it without being that person.
Exactly. So
I think what's funny is a lot of the roles that we've mentioned seem to be people playing other real people.
Yeah.
Which I think for me, okay, if I'm going to find a singular spot to maybe defend this kind of choice making, it might be in that respect.
Right.
To fully play a real person, you have to put yourself into the mindset of that person.
Yeah.
I think that might be the only singularly defensible position to be in for method acting is okay.
Because we're familiar with the person that they're playing. And therefore, if they don't nail it, it's going to be really obvious. So I get that.
Looking at you, Ashton Kutcher as Steve Jobs, looking at you as so many actors.
Yeah. You know. Renee Zellweger as Judy once again.
I mean, again, and then you have people like, I'm not going to use him as an example. Ray Charles, Jamie Foxx.
Right.
Didn't do any of the method acting shit, I don't think.
Just pretended to be blind.
And he did Ray Charles rather convincingly.
And he did fine. He
won an Oscar for it.
Right. So didn't Jared Leto play Oswald?
No, he played the guy who shot Lennon.
Who did he play? Oh, I thought he played the guy that
he played the guy who shot Lennon. John Lennon.
I thought he was Lee Harvey Oswald.
No, but that was another movie where Jared Leto gained a lot of weight.
Right.
I remember hearing about that when it came out. It's like, check out Jared Leto in this crazy role. It's like, I'm good.
He's tubby.
Yeah, he's fat. I mean, wow. Cool. I must have been method acting my whole life.
I can do that in a month. I can
do that in my sleep. I could do that now. You want me to do it?
My weight fluctuates, I swear. And it's like, so when I see other people like, can you believe he lost 20 pounds in 2 months? I'm like, yes, it's not that hard.
I can
believe it. Can you believe he's 50? No, that I don't fucking believe.
That I don't believe. That I don't believe at all. And you know what I really can't believe? That if you told me that Matt Smith was 39, I wouldn't believe that he's 39 either.
Right.
I love Matt Smith so much. He's such a good actor. Still, him and David Tennant are still my two favorite Doctor Who versions of the Doctor. That was kind of the peak of when I watched that show, was those 2 seasons. I mean, I've seen all the way up until when they recast him again as Peter Capaldi, but Matt Smith was such a good Doctor.
Yeah, he's got such an interesting face.
He does, and he's an interesting actor, and he's a charismatic actor.
Yeah.
And you can tell in this role as Milo, the villainous vampire.
Ooh, when he gets all sexy.
Yeah. Ooh,
I was like, ooh.
Yeah. Oh, you.
Go you.
You naughty. I liked him in this movie a lot. Like, he was one of the minor bright points. Was like, yeah, Matt Smith's kind of fun. He's having a good time. Yeah. And then Jared Leto's just like, so serious, McDick. And it's like, oh, why you got to bring the rest of us down?
I think that's another thing I had an issue with in this film was that the action was kind of anticlimactic, one, and two, you never knew when it was going to happen. It would just happen, and you'd be like, "Oh, I guess there's a chase scene right now." I didn't even see that coming. There's no buildup, is what I'm saying.
It's very poorly. It's again like movies from 2005 to 2015. The action is very choppy. It's hard to follow. It's all CGI. All of it. It's not practical at all. You know how I know that? Because Jared Leto is going in and out of being a vampire throughout most of it. What they're doing is not physically possible. And again, it really just leans into the worst offenses of movies like Thor: Dark World or Iron Man 2 or again, just pick half of the Marvel movies that nobody likes, and this movie apes most of them. This movie just it just says, you know what, you like Marvel movies from the mid-aughts. Okay, here you go. A CGI fuckfest at the end, a villain who's the inverse of our character, has the exact same powers. I mean, that's Ant-Man. That's Doctor Strange. That's the OG Captain America. That's Thor. I guess Thor 2. Thor 2 is its own piece of shit, but it does have another Doctor Who actor as a villain with Chris Eccleston as the villain of that movie. I don't know what people were thinking with this movie, because they should never have been copying things that people did not like. And people said they did not like, to the point where Thor 3 came out, best Thor movie, one of the best Marvel movies, and it literally said Thor 1 and 2 don't matter. Thor 1 and 2 sucked.
Oh my
God.
Thor
1 and 2 are dog shit. Even the first Thor is really bad.
But Ragnarok, come on.
It's fun. And this movie should have been fun.
Yeah. It
could have been scary and fun. Horror movies are fun. We watch plenty of horror movies all the time that are fun.
Make it horror. I mean,
it's a fucking horror movie. We haven't even talked about the fact that it's technically a horror movie
with no blood. Blue blood.
There's a point where Jared Harris gets slashed by. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, why is this movie not rated R?
I don't know. We didn't even get to see a transformation. Did you notice that too? I was like,
it just shows up. They just go.
He just happens.
You can't have a transformation scene in a movie where they're constantly going in and out of transformation anyways. They're literally like at points in this movie, Jared Leto will just be walking and he'll be like phasing. They'll be just like, put some After Effects on his face. Make him look like a vampire. All right, take it off. Now put it back on. And it's like, oh my, like, why would you? You don't have to do something in every scene constantly. We know he's Morbius. We know he's a vampire.
Yeah. I mean, that was the part that I found jarring. I was like, interesting. We didn't even, when he's sitting on the thing and he's, he injects himself the first time, I figured, we're going to get a great shot of everything changing and, his eye. We don't get that at all. He just happens. Like, she looks away and then they look back and he's not there anymore. And I'm like, okay, they go in, he's on the ceiling. He's done. He's the vampire now. Yep. And I was like, well, that was anticlimactic. He's just Morbius now, just the vampire.
But he's always been Morbius.
Right. But Morbius, the vampire.
Oh.
And, that's how I felt throughout the film. I was like, I guess we're doing a chase scene. And it kept going. And I was like, this would have been a really good stopping point. Nope. It's still going. Okay. All right. He just killed the cops. All right, that's going to end here. Nope, it's still going. And then when it does stop, I'm like, well, that was a whole charade of nothing happening.
Pretty yeah. Well, and again, it goes back, it harkens back to those Marvel movies like Thor 2, like Iron Man 2, where the climax of the movie is a wet blanket. It's just it's a wet fart. It's a fart underwater, in a waterfall. You're just like, what was even the point? I've seen this a million times. I have seen this shit a million times now. Remember the end of Black Panther, a movie everybody loves so much? Literally just Black Panther fighting himself. Remember Ant-Man, a movie that a lot of people, including myself, like. It's just Ant-Man fighting himself. Doctor Strange, he's just fighting himself. Iron Man 2, he's just fighting himself. Captain Marvel, she's just fighting herself. Like, fucking come on.
Yeah.
We know we have the tools. We have the ability to make interesting action. How do I know that? Because people still make practical action look good. And there are people, the Russo brothers, I think for the most part, Marvel directors who know how to make action look good. They know how to shoot convincing action. Guys, these movies exist already. Why are we aping movies that are bad?
Yeah.
It's mind blowing to me because this movie feels like it should have taken place and or could have been made long before the MCU ever existed. Even it feels almost like a throwback to OG Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right. Which is what you were kind of saying.
Which is what I said. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like I said, it feels outdated.
Mm-hmm.
And
from like the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. Once you've had the best of the best, to go backwards it feels, I guess, anticlimactic. Is like you said, Ragnarok. Come on. That if this
Captain America Winter Soldier,
just fun, just a great action CG, that Ragnarok is a great example of it is predominantly CGI
almost completely,
and it works.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And this movie Morbius is predominantly not CGI, but it uses a lot of it in replacement for the people, for the characters. And the slow motion CGI too really allowed you to have a good look at it. And boy, was it like, And then I guess the climax where he kills Martine, kills her, and then he bites her. I'm like, she's gonna wake up at the end of the movie. I'm not dumb. Like it's like Twilight. We already know we're gonna get that shot at the end. She's not actually dead. She already did too much in this movie.
Whenever vampires are in movies,
and then they're never too late. You ever notice that they're never too late? They come back. They're like, no, you can't die. They give them their blood or they bite them or whatever. And it takes a while for some reason, but eventually they come back. They did it in American Horror Story Hotel with Kathy Bates' character. They've done it in Twilight. They've done it here. Interview with the Vampire did it, but it was like he transformed pretty quickly, But it was just funny when he was like crying because she's dead. I'm like, she's not dead. I'm not. It was.
Who cares? They had no relationship throughout the movie, and their chemistry was non-existent.
It was non-existent. Come on, I was like, she's too good for you. She's too good for you. She's intelligent. She's pretty. She's got her own life to live, and she's dropping it all for this douche. The bats was what I was getting at. I was watching with my girlfriend. She goes, "He can control bats."
Can now.
I was like,
that's the thing that always happens at the end of these movies where it's like they figure out they have one more power. Yeah. And that was always like another tropey thing in these like mid-range superhero movies where it's like at the end of the movie, they go superpower mode. It's like in wrestling, right? John Cena hits the AA, his finisher, but if he really wants to hit it, he goes to the top rope and does it off the top rope. That's the equivalent here. It's like he figured out he could make do what? Fly around with the bats? Bats just flying at you, I guess, keeps you in place. It moves you around, but they're not biting Matt Smith. They're just like keeping him in place so that Morbius can slow-mo run up and go, you can't kill me. And it's like, who fucking cares? I don't even care. You don't care. I'm glad you're not with this movie anymore. You go on and do an acting career that matters. If they make another one, Jared Leto will be stuck with this movie's franchise, not Matt Smith.
But it didn't make sense because it's not that they were regular bats.
Right.
Those weren't
not vampire. Not vampire bats.
No, they weren't enhanced by any means. They weren't given super strength or anything. And bats, like birds, are weightless because they have to be able to fly. So having that many bats flying at you would probably knock you over a little bit. Right. But it would not have been strong enough to carry him off his feet and throw him up against a wall. And it just looked so funny seeing Morbius as if he had telekinetic powers, but with bats.
Yeah.
It was bat telekinesis. And it just reminded me of From Dusk Till Dawn when he breaks the door, he throws the vampire through the door or something. And the guy's just standing where all the bats flying behind him is what it reminded me of.
Fred Williamson, you mean?
Yeah, it was just silly. It was just, and then to take down Milo took nothing. I was like, I thought he was
syringe full of green goo.
That was it. And he was done. It's like, okay.
Yeah, there was no practical action in this movie whatsoever. It's all CGI. And in it all being CGI, It never feels grounded in reality. You don't feel like the actors are actually interacting with each other in a substantive way. And at the end of the movie, it's so anticlimactic. My only thinking was, at least it wasn't that long.
Yeah.
But this movie's still 104 minutes.
It's no end game. You know, like
God. Another 40 minutes of this, please.
Like it's like I said, these movies that are predominantly CGI, when they get it right, they get it right. And you can tell that there was actual physical action that was rehearsed, that was choreographed, and it makes you feel excited. It makes you feel like shit's getting real, you know, to see Captain America all beaten up, and even the shield was beaten up. And because we watched him, you know, fight Thanos, but
we also care about Captain America as a character.
I gave a shit because I've stuck with him through it. Right. So I'm like, you know, this is fantastic. And then you watch Morbius and nothing feels, it's not realistic enough for me to give a shit, because most of the fighting took place in the air.
That's what I'm saying. There's no practical action. It's like all CGI. Jared Leto's costume, like, oh my God, we haven't even talked about it. This movie should have been retitled High Collars, the movie. Jared Leto just walking around in a Dracula-esque high collar all film. While I appreciate that is Morbius's look in the comic, doesn't translate well on screen.
No, I would have stuck to the hoodie.
Right? The hoodie made perfect sense.
Modernized Morbius, and in today's world, he would have worn a hoodie, not a cape with a Dracula collar. Like,
right? Like,
shit. So the trench coat thing is so 2000. You know?
Yeah. Again, it's like you're a character completely out of time, out of time and out of place. Because again, nobody should be making movies like this anymore. Right?
If I saw a guy walking around in a trench coat with a high collar, I'd think it's pretty silly, unless you're going to like some convention, you know.
You went to the vampire ball.
Oh, fuck off.
That's where Morbius is going, to the vampire ball
to get hit in his vampire balls.
Where does this even go from here? Like, is there another movie, you think? I don't know. I mean, this movie made money. That's the kind of insane part. The budget's like 70 to 80 and it made 163. Didn't lose money.
No. Good for them. I mean,
it's an internet meme now. It's Morbin time, more billions. I mean, it's a joke now. So
right. Maybe it's a situation where the first movie was meh, but the sequel is where it's at. Maybe.
That's my worry. Because what if the second one is good?
Okay, but But what if they did recast Jared Leto? I don't think he would.
They're not going to.
But does he seem like the kind of guy who would commit to a series? You know what I mean? Like,
why else do this then?
I don't know. I just don't.
You do this so that you have hashtag Marvel money, baby.
Right. I mean, it's like when Robert Downey Jr. signed on to be Iron Man. He was Iron Man for a really fucking long time.
He was Iron Man for a decade plus.
But he seems like an actor who would appreciate that. He loves that shit. Jared Leto does not give me that vibe. No, he gives me hey, I signed on for the first one. You want to do a sequel? I don't think so.
But yet Jared Leto is in the new Tron movie.
Is he?
Mm-hmm. That's the rumor, at least. I don't know. I mean, the problem is I do not classify nor believe that Jared Leto is a fun actor or a fun person to be around. And it's almost needed that you are for these kinds of roles to be successful, to be even entertaining. You need to be entertaining yourself. And Jared Leto is too self-serious for this. And I think he was miscast from the get-go. But here's the thing. Tell me an actor who's as big as Jared Leto. Like, he's a huge actor. That's the problem.
I would have cast Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Morbius. How fun would that have been?
Yeah, but then you're just casting him in another Batman movie.
I don't care. I don't like
Joseph Gordon. You talk about another smug prick.
You think so? Well, he's pretty artsy fartsy, I suppose.
He strikes me as kind of smug.
Oh, okay. Well,
I don't know, but I mean, again, like, I think he would have been more fun. Well, I think that you're right there. My feelings on JGL aside, like, he would have been more fun.
He's just so pretty.
You know who would have been great as Morbius, but they can't use him?
Me.
Tom Hiddleston.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's got that, like, waifish quality to him.
Right.
Like, more like, that's the thing. Like, Jared Leto is an unassuming guy. That is the one thing about this movie that I will say kind of works, is that Jared Leto is unassuming. He's a little guy. Obviously, Morbius then becomes this like giant hulking vampire creature. So whatever.
Right.
But I think the thing to take away from this movie, the biggest failing, 100% biggest failing, is just casting Jared Leto.
Yeah.
And that's if you made that decision and every other decision, no matter how good of a decision you made after that one, you cannot undo the worst decision you made, which was involving a self-serious actor with a capital A like Jared Leto.
Right. I think a lot of people feel, at least from what I've seen online, that at this point, casting Jared Leto in anything is just a director trying to be edgy. And I think it's starting to feel true. It's starting to feel like, what would make this movie really controversial or we're pushing boundaries here. Cast Jared Leto. And it's the word that comes to my mind is it's tired.
Yep.
So it's like, of course Jared Leto's playing that part. Of course Jared Leto's playing that part. Of course Jared Leto's been announced.
Cringe lord.
It's just like, for fuck's sake, like we just give him a movie where he doesn't have to really do anything and watch him turn it into performance art. You know what I mean? It's like, have him play a farmer or something. Have him do indie films. I don't know, but his face is everywhere. He was the Joker. He's now in Morbius. The fucking plastered him all over the place.
He was in that Apple TV show.
Yeah, that's all over the place too. And House of Gucci, his face was all over the place. And it's like, I get it. He's in movies. Like,
it's a lot.
I'm not excited to see it. So like, there must be people
that are, though, I guess.
Well, yeah, no, he's got a huge fan base. I will not deny that. He actually does. But equal amounts people hate him, so
it's a perception. It's a perception thing.
Right. So he is he's the humanization of love me or hate me. You know what I mean? And you either do or you don't.
There's no middle ground with Jared Leto.
No, there's no like, he's all right. It's like, oh God, you say Jared Leto to someone and they go, then you're like, all right. Poppy.
It sounds like the beginning of that fucking Rob Zombie song in here all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Wow. Cow. I should have put that at the end of this movie and I would have liked it a lot more. No, instead they just fucking shoehorned Michael Keaton in. Like, man, on loan from the MCU, more like you stole him.
You have my interest. You have my attention. What does he say?
You know what they should have said to each other?
Blow me.
I have heard about you, and I only have one question. Why are you gay? Vulture. You are gay. It's just like, I would be interested in that movie. Yeah. Because again, this movie was insanely gay. This movie should have just been like a gay vampire love story between Matt Smith and Jared Leto. Because it kind of already was.
I did not get that until you said it. And I was I guess.
Matt Smith's character is a little
hot.
Well. Matt Smith is a good looking guy.
Unique looking.
He's a good looking guy.
Yeah, no, to me, unique looking people are just very attractive.
Nice guy too. Met him once in person. Nice guy.
Seems like a sweetie.
Yeah.
In the scenes where he was not being mean, he seemed like a sweetheart. I was like, I'm rooting for that guy, and I already know he's going to be the villain, but I'm rooting for him. Yeah. I want him to give him the serum, all right, or whatever the fuck that shit is.
Make him good again.
Make me feel better. Make my legs work.
Oh, Father, I don't have to walk with me cane no more. Yeah, that's the other thing I love. You have Jared Leto, not a British actor, up against Matt Smith, a British actor who they tried to tell him to downplay his British accent.
Really?
Well, he kind of doesn't sound British in this movie. It's kind of weird.
I thought it was adorable when he's like, oh my God, when he writes blood on the window.
Blood.
And he goes, oh, the blood in the fridge, in the freezer.
Oh, in the freezer.
The blood in the freezer.
In the icebox.
I was like, that was adorable. Come on.
I'm glad we watched it so that we could kind of see what it's all about. But
yeah, I'll watch it again. I'm not going to lie. Like I had fun. It was I'll give it that, but
you had fun in spite of Jared Leto.
Yeah. Like I was like, okay, like I like the characters around him. But once the action stuff started happening, that's where I lost interest. And that shows that you've made a mistake.
Maybe make it a horror movie, like a horror detective movie, not like a fucking action superhero movie.
Right. Well, because that worked for the Riddler.
I haven't seen the Batman yet. Still haven't seen it.
Give it a watch. I don't even know if you want to.
I could watch Morbius twice in the amount of time it takes to watch Batman.
Yeah, it's a long ass movie.
It's Morbin time.
It's Morbid time. Saber-tooth tiger.
The fact that this movie has taken on a life of its own on the internet is the funniest thing about it.
Right.
And
there
that
has
like
to be a
it,
sequel.
and it essentially, and as essentially the internet memes at this point, in my opinion, exist to take the piss out of Jared Leto even further.
Right.
Because he's probably sees them in, well, he doesn't. Never mind. He's living in a fucking tent somewhere in the middle of the Mojave Desert doing God knows what, completely disconnected.
Hiking.
Right. Do you remember that thing at the beginning of the pandemic where he was like on an island not talking for a month? And then he came back and he was like, what is happening? Maybe go away. Go back to the island you came from, Jared.
Just show some sense of humor. I would love to see
self-awareness, man. He has none.
Just like
none.
Do the Nicolas Cage thing and just have a ball. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Nicolas Cage is an internet sweetheart now, internet darling.
Yeah, just do it. Just become that. And I think people would find you more likable. Enough with the pretentious, high art, method acting, draining bullshit.
We're not laughing with you, Jared. We're laughing at you.
We get it.
Because you're so serious that you drag us all down.
And look, he has the right. He has the right to be that way. I'm just saying, for me, if I was in the same room, I would be like, don't talk to that guy. He's so boring. You know what I mean?
To see that guy in the corner who's like farting and then standing up and smelling the chair after he farts, that guy's weird.
Yeah, I'd rather be talking to the kitchen staff because they have stories.
He likes the way his own Badussi smells.
I know a lot of people that would like to smell his Badussi.
As we say on the internet, Badussi.
Is that what it's called? Badussi? Do I have a Badussi?
I guess we both technically do.
What is that?
You know what it is. It's your butthole. It's your butthole.
You scare me. Don't look at me and say butthole ever again.
It's your butthole.
It's a butthole.
Jared Leto in Badussius. It's just a butthole flying around, farting through the air. Kind of like what this movie already was. Jared Leto farting through the air as a butt. Yeah.
It's a butthole, but doesn't know it's a butthole.
Right. It's a flying ass. It's an ass with wings. Badussius. Michael Badussius. He became an ass when he took this serum. Become a flying pair of butt cheeks with wings that farts on bad guys with the power of my immense stink. Stinks.
And now how did Jared Leto prepare for this role?
He stuffed so much shit up his ass. just to the point where he was like sitting on bedposts.
Yeah.
Just like
in fact,
spinning on the end of a
I think the whole bed is in there.
Or corner bed. This is more entertaining than Morbius, the film, ever had a chance.
The kitchen sink is actually up his ass.
You know the term "and the kitchen sink"? That Jared Leto, he's the one who mastered the term "and the kitchen sink."
Yeah, it's up there.
And you know what? It even works. He's got plumbing up there. You can stick your hand in and turn the thing and little drip of water. I don't know how he does it. He's a magician, that one.
And now I'm a flying butthole.
Yeah. Dr. Michael Badussius.
We have to write this into a comic now.
Badussius. Michael Badussius. Can you imagine if his name was Badussius? Oh, my favorite thing about this movie.
I can't stop laughing, you fuck.
He turns down the Nobel Peace Prize. #edgelord. I'm so fucking edgy.
Oh, is that what he did?
See how sharp I am? You're about as sharp as a fucking spork, pal.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the beginning of the movie, he's like, I turned it down. Like,
and
why? You dumb fuck? Like,
yeah, like, you want a prize for that? Like,
what are you trying to be, Marlon Brando? I won't take this Academy Award. Like,
right.
Okay.
No one cares. It seems like something Jared would do.
Right. It seems like something Jared Leto, the human being, would do.
Yeah.
We'd like to award the Nobel Peace Prize to the lead singer of 30 Seconds to Mars and Michael Badussius actor, Jared Leto. But he's refusing to show up because, and I quote, Nobel Peace Prize for what?
Right.
Question mark. In his tweet online, I won't be attending.
Yeah. #Morbius.
#Badussius. God. So Andy, final thoughts on Morbius.
It was fun, but it was stupid. But I liked it. That's the thing.
But it was stupid.
But it was stupid. You see what I'm saying? So it's worth a watch. Like I won't say it's not even worth watch, because there's plenty out there that is not even worth a watch. This is worth a watch, like just if you're to pique your curiosity. So
yeah, I would agree. It's not good, not even in the slightest. It's a real mess. Right. But it's a funny mess. And again, we're laughing at Jared Leto, not with Jared Leto, because him being so self-serious in this stupid fucking movie is the funniest part of this movie. You are so self-serious in a movie about a vampire who flies around and sucks blood out of blood bags. Like,
how would you feel if you were an actor and you go up to someone and you're like, hey, what are you doing? I'm getting into character. Wouldn't you be like,
vampire?
This fucking prick. All right, well, I'm going to be at the food table,
craft service, motherfucker, craft
service, eating candy, and well, you continue to lumber in the corner,
brood.
Yeah. Continue to not have fun.
There's Jared Leto brooding in the corner again, getting into fucking character. Cool, guys, don't bother him for the next 2 hours. He's got to get in the mindset of Michael Badussius.
Yeah, like, my God, like, crack a smile, have fun,
Like, really have fun, because you know what? If you're not having fun and they're paying you millions of dollars, what chance do the rest of us have having fun at our jobs? If you can't have fun at your $1 million job, dude, like, what are the rest of us supposed to do?
Like, even I have fun on stage where I'm supposed to be stoic, as I sing and whatnot. But inside, I'm having a blast. You know what I mean? And
just go look at the post. Just go look at the poster and Jared Leto just fucking stone gazing. Morbius
doing with the Kubrick stare, just
Badussius. Michael Morbius is Badussius. God. So on that
Badussi.
Hashtag Badussius. It's just a flying ass.
Does it mean boy pussy, or is
yes, it does mean boy pussy. Jesus.
Okay. I thought you were saying that,
which is your butthole,
butt pussy.
But that is your boy pussy if you're into that.
So
I would never call, even if, again, as a gay man, as a bisexual man, I would never call it that.
I just call it my butt.
Yeah.
It's my butt.
I mean, if you're into calling it your Badussi, cool, but Badussi is just a weird word.
Boy vagina.
Vagina?
Vagina.
Vagina?
Vagina.
Vagina. Sounds like you're saying vagina wrong. Me and my vagina. Like, okay.
My vagina.
That sounds like toe mater. All right, that's just my vagina.
Mayonnaise and vagina.
Yeah, God. So where could people find you, Mr. Gnosis, if they were looking for you?
All things Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, even. Andy Gnosis, Gnosis.
You should edit yourself into the Morbius poster. Just take Jared Leto's face off and put yours.
I am Morbius, but with Badussi on it.
You would be a better Morbius than Jared Leto, but we are.
I don't know about.
You would have had more fun.
I'd have fun for sure, but I don't know if it would translate.
I think it would maybe not into this movie.
Yeah. I'm not that great of an actor.
Oi.
You're
gonna play a Scottish vampire now?
I was trying to do Pete Burns.
As for me, cstachiw.com, cstachiw.com. That's my link tree. Go there for all the things that I work on, which are varied and plentiful in their offerings. We don't do episodes like this very often.
That's because it's morbid time.
Yeah. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, culturecast.com, patreon.com/culturecast, places you can go to support the show monetarily. But hey, you know what? Just giving us a review on iTunes, rating and reviewing on iTunes is all you really need to do, folks. Frankly, that's it. Because guess what? You can't rate and review shows anywhere other than iTunes. So go there, rate and review the show. Andy, thank you so much for joining me, ? I think we had a good time. I know we had a good time, but having to watch the movie is another thing.
I have rock hard abs from laughing so hard, and my Badussi has collapsed. It has collapsed.
Badussi.
Yeah, it has
Badussi.
Collapsed Badussi.
Okay. You might want to go have a doctor look at that, and we'll catch you on the next
Dr.
episode.
Morbius.
Dr. Michael Morbius, Badussi collapser.